Does your workday grind leave you downtrodden and empty? Are you feeling anxious about the coming holiday to the point where you're unsure you can cope? And does it all make you want to go super sane on the whole world? Hold on, wait a minute, take a chill pill. Essay here, and when I'm not sounding like a complete ignoramus on the computer, I'm also a published author, and I have a deal for you. Don't miss out on the thrilling and captivating American book series Glitch. This one-of-a-kind series combines literary fiction and crime, creating an adrenaline-fueled adventure to keep you on the edge of your seat. Available now on Kindle or paperback. Grab your copy today at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or your local bookstore. You won't regret it. The links are below in the description. And I'm not some one-hit wonder either. I got other books coming down the pike. So if I don't lose my mind and do something crazy...
Nation, Lois. For a minute there, you almost had me convinced. For a minute.
Bye-bye, baby.
You'll see those books soon enough. Now let's get back to the video. Hello again. Essay here. Almost 50 years ago, NBC started a new program, a comedy show, basically improv. And the tagline for the show was, "Not ready for primetime players." And the show was funny. I used to watch it. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, Chevy Chase, Gilda Radner, and all the rest of the knuckleheads. Funny show. And even during the 80s when they had Joe Piscopo and Eddie Murphy on there. Funny show. And even into the 1990s when they had Chris Farley on there. You know, doing his living down in a van by the river skit. That was funny. Well, guess what? Well, we're not living in those days anymore. Nope. Why? Because like the parent company, NBC Universal, Saturday Night Live, funny comedy show, been funny for decades, has gone woke. And you say, so what? Well, anyone who knows anything about wokeism knows that wokeism and comedy don't mix. I mean, just ask Dave Chappelle or Ricky Gervais. Yeah, that's a beaut. Yeah. When they make jokes that other people think is funny, the wokesters say, "Oh, this is bad. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, you're criticizing marginalized people." Get out of here, you fools. But anyway, the usual cast of idiots decided to do a skit. Except, what were they criticizing? A recent congressional hearing involving these university presidents from Harvard and Penn, and I forgot what the third one was. I could look it up. And the person who was doing the interrogating was this congresswoman, Elsa Stefanik. Yeah, I don't live in her districts, therefore I don't know the woman. And the people at SNL decided to make fun of her. Why? Don't know. Because anyone who have watched the actual congressional hearing can tell right away that the clown in this meeting of the minds, if you can call it that, was not the congressman or woman. It was these three university presidents. Why? Because they were asked a simple question. It's not rocket science. They asked them, do you support anti-Semitism on your campus? And these people hemmed and hawed and ahem and start making excuses. I mean, they were basically doing their own version of, Porky Pig, biggie, 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 biggie. And it was just painful to watch. And you say, so what? Well, remember, these are the universities who, for at least a full decade, maybe a little bit longer, who've had all sorts of free speech restrictions. In other words, you can't say anything against marginalized people. You can't be fat phobic. In other words, telling somebody, stop stuffing the ding dongs in your face, get on the fucking treadmill, stuff like that. And therefore, when they had all these damn pro-Hamas protests happening on these college campuses, you had all these people talking about from river to the sea. And you say, so what? Well, you know what that means. These people down out there in the Eastern Mediterranean, they know what that means. It basically means from river to the sea, Palestine will be free. It basically means you want to basically wipe out the people who are there and replace them all with Arabs. And of course, right now, most people who are there are Jews. And there you go. And therefore, when these college professors are basically calling the carpet and saying, why you're allowing this, they're sitting there making excuses. Sitting there saying, oh, well, as long as they don't actually act out on their rhetoric. And the Congresswoman, Stefanik, she wasn't buying that at all. Especially when she quoted back some of the chants that these people were talking about. Openly proclaiming that a second genocide should be initiated against the people, Jews living out there in Israel. And of course, anyone who knows history books knows that they already went through one once in Europe. And when Stefanik basically asked them, are you condoning this? They kept making excuses. And therefore, when you look at that damn congressional hearing, you say, are these people morons? Are these people stupid? I mean, last time I checked, genocide is a crime, and not just in the United States. I think it's a crime in most jurisdictions on the planet, except maybe Rwanda, but I'm not going to get into that. And the fact that these people couldn't say, oh, well, proclaiming that, the protesters proclaimed that they want to commit genocide against Jewish people, the fact that they couldn't even say that was wrong? Like I said, who's the clown in this damn exchange here? Now, the people at the Saturday Night Live, they somehow thought, oh, well, let's make fun of the Congresswoman. Why? Don't know. Oh, that's right. She's a Republican. And even though the woman is making sense, these wokesters who hijacked SNL said, no, we can't have that. We got to make her look like a moron. And of course, when they made that skit up, man, talking about that thing floated like a lead balloon. And Jeremy from the Quartering, that big dude, he said that, yeah, these people, when they actually had nerve to put clips of that skit, SNL on their Twitter, now X account, they got totally ratioed into oblivion and back again. People kept putting up memes of Hitler and talking about, oh, I guess your audience is now Hamas supporters and stuff like that, and on and on and on. I mean, they were just ragging on the people at SNL. I mean, I'd be the first to tell you, I'm not a comedian, but I've seen good comedy. I mean, anyone who remembers Abbott and Costello or Lauren Hardy, or, wait for it, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, knows that when it comes to comedy, where you basically have the straight man and the goofball. In other words, Laurel, he was the goofball, and Hardy, he was the straight man. Lou Costello, he was the goofball, and oh, brain freeze. Sorry. And Abbott, he was the straight man. And then, of course, Dean Martin, Dino, he was the straight man, and Jerry Lewis was the goofball. I mean, it's pretty basic. And these people at SNL couldn't even do that. They basically inverted it for political reasons. Why? Because of wokeism. Their ideology got in the way of a good joke. Because if this congressional hearing had happened just a mere 20, 30 years ago, that whole skit would have been inverted. The straight man would have been the congresswoman, and the damn goofballs would have been these stupid university presidents sitting there sounding like Porky Pig trying to explain themselves. That's how the joke should have been written. But they didn't write it that way. Because of political correctness, because of wokeism, because of intersectionality, and all the other stupid liberal arts terms that these people tend to use nowadays. I mean, it makes you wonder what some of the older people used to be on the SNL would think about this skit. Now, of course, John Belushi, he's long dead. But his old writing buddy, Aykroyd, he's still around. In fact, anyone who saw that last Ghostbusters film probably knows that he had a bit part in it. Yeah. It'd be nice to, look up Aykroyd and say, yo, Aykroyd, did you see this stupid skit that happened on your old TV show? What do you think about this skit? Do you think it's funny, or do you think it's just plain dumb? Yeah. I think he'll probably, if he's honest, I think he'll probably say the skit was stupid and not funny. So what happens next? Probably nothing. Although one of those Congress people, one of those damn people who was in the congressional hearing, I think they already lost their job. Yeah, the woman who was the president of Penn University, yeah, she quit. Because I think she was about to get kicked out. And now it looks like the woman who was running Harvard, she's about to get kicked out too. And wait for it, not for her testimony. No, not that. Apparently she's going to get kicked out because someone looked back at some of her published papers. Because before she became president, she was a college professor. And they found out that apparently she had been plagiarizing some of her published writings, when she was back a college professor, apparently for a while now. And apparently saying that, and that tells you something about what's going on when it comes to universities. In other words, you can say whatever you want about Jews. Want to kill Jews, fine, it's okay. But apparently you can't plagiarize on your published papers or dissertations. Apparently you're not allowed to do that. Now, will she be kicked out? I don't know. But since this Claudine woman, since she has, and I don't even want to use this term, but I think in her case, I think I have to use it. Her black privilege, I think she might keep her job, maybe? I don't know. She might. Because you know how these people love the virtue signal at these universities. And even though if she was an old school, white guy, Protestant, heterosexual, I mean, that person would have been kicked out on his ear so fast would have broke the sound barrier. But because she is, a black woman, and, these people are going to sit there and hem and haw over her. And I think they'll probably do to her what the people over at Anheuser-Busch did to those knuckleheads who hired Mulvaney for that damn beer campaign. You know, Bud Light. They'll probably say, "Oh, she's taking a leave of absence," and then quietly, basically, maybe a few months, maybe a year down the road, say that, "Oh, she quietly resigned and she's not returning to her position." They'll probably do it like that. No, real quiet, no fanfare, no news conference or big speeches, nothing like that. They'll probably just have her quietly take a leave of absence, and then when no one's looking, they'll probably just say, "Oh, she's not coming back to her position," and that'll be the end of it. Now, as for Saturday Night Live, let's just say this is not the first time they stepped in it and bagged up. Oh no! Anyone who's watched as long as I have know that they've had done some pretty ridiculous things. I mean, for example, how many people remember Sinead O'Connor going on there? This was back in the '90s, and took a picture of the Pope and tore it in half. I mean, I didn't think much of it because I'm not Catholic, but apparently a lot of people thought it was a big deal. Yeah. And then, of course, Trump, he showed up on there on the show. And oh my God, would you believe the Congressional Hispanic Caucus actually, in another outfit, it was called Deport Racism, tried to get Trump bumped off the show? Of course, and this was back when he was running for president. Yeah, you can look it up. I think it was in 2015. He was on the show. And according to the Nielsen ratings, Trump being on Saturday Night Live, that particular episode, it was one of the highest rated episodes they had, I think, like in 3 or 4 years. Hey, Trump's good for ratings. Just ask clowns at CNN. Every time they mentioned Trump, their ratings went up, all during when he was president. And then, of course, they had other crazy incidents that happened on the damn Saturday Night Live. Of course, these happened like way back. We're talking like back during the original iteration of the show. For example, Sam Kinison. You probably don't remember him. He was a comedian back in the past. I don't know if he's alive anymore. I don't think he is. Yeah, he went on there. And he was talking about legalizing marijuana. Now, this was back in the 80s, but yeah, still. And then they had another incident where Richard Pryor was on the show. And this was back in the 70s. And supposedly the network wanted the people who were producing the show to do a tape delay because, Richard Pryor. Anyone who's seen a Richard Pryor show knows that Richard Pryor is not like G-rated, okay? The guy isn't. And they were worried he was going to sit there and start cursing all over the damn camera. And the damn people at the damn studio people, who were producing the show, they didn't put him on tape delay. Nope, they didn't. But then again, of course, Richard Pryor, he's like, he's someone who you can't restrict. And eventually, he didn't appear on SNL again after that incident. Hey, it happens. But yeah, they've had all sorts of things that happen on that show all the time. And yet, the show is still there. So the show will probably continue on despite this controversy. I mean, it wasn't like the damn skit started getting really profane, like the time that Samuel M. Showed up on the show and started saying bullshit and fuck everywhere. I mean, like, damn. Then again, Samuel M., he's something else that you can't really restrict. Anyone who saw snakes on a plane, you ever see that Ridiculous movie? knows that Samuel L. Jackson, when he gets started, just stay out of his way and let him get finished. I mean, like, yeah. So, in all likelihood, Saturday Night Live will just continue muddling on. And of course, as long as the wokesters are there, their audience will likely just continue to dribble down. Which is a shame. Because anyone who watched the show, back in the past, know the show can be funny. But that particular episode was not one of their better shows. Nope. Definitely wasn't. So, if they could help themselves, they would hire Ricky Gervais to be the producer of that show. Because Ricky Gervais is funny. But of course, as long as NBC Universal is all woke, that's probably not going to happen. Nope. I mean, could you imagine Ricky Gervais becoming executive producer of Saturday Night Live? That show would then be like super funny. No joke. It would be hilarious. Yep. Well, you're going to always dream, right? Well, that's what I have to say about those not ready for primetime players. And that's my opinion.